Hi guys, welcome back to another training video. In this tutorial, I will show you how to create this interactive flipping card animation in Figma. By the end of this video, you'll be able to create your own interactive card flip animation, perfect for websites, apps, and engaging UI designs. So let's jump into Figma and start creating. Let's start by creating a frame first. Click your frame tool and click anywhere on the canvas and drag a frame. Then change its size to 272 and 405 pixels, and then change its fill color to purple. The color code I'm using is 6E3DEA, and then we'll now add an icon to this. Then come down here to the actions menu and then go to the plugins and search for this plugin called Iconify. From here you can choose the icons. You can just search for a refresh icon and it will show you these options. I'll just click and drag one of these. I'll click on this and then I'll click on import as frame. So now we have our icon ready. I'll just zoom in a bit and then I'll click and drag it here on the top right, and I'll change its color to white. Then I'll grab my text tool and I'll start typing the text. Front side, the font type I'll make it to Poppins, and then the font size I'll keep it to 24, and from alignment panel I'll make it middle align, and then while holding down shift I'll just move it to the bit to the left. The spacing I've kept on the left is 18. If you hold down Alt it will show you. Now we have to just double click on the name and type front. So this will be our front card. Also make sure the icon you created is under the front frame itself. Then from the layers panel I will click and drag this icon under the front frame. So now it is part of this front frame itself. Then I will click and drag the whole frame, and then while holding down Alt I'll make a duplicate of this. Then right click on it and click on flip horizontal. Then right click on the text and click on flip horizontal, and while holding down shift move it to the bit to the left. Same, make it have the same spacing, which is 18 pixel. While holding down Alt I just saw the size spacing is just 22. I'll just use my keyboard arrow keys to move it to the left. Now double click on it and type back. Click on the frame and change its fill color to black. Now we have to move this icon to the right side. Just click on this and delete. Click on the icon in the first frame, click on this, then click on the second frame and then paste it, and it will paste in the same position. And then double click on the name and type this back. So now we have our front and back sides ready. Just zoom out a bit. Then once you have done that, you can just click on this front frame and move it all the way to the top. So that means this is on top of the back frame. Then click and drag both of these frames and click and drag all the way to the bottom, and to make a duplicate of the frames. Then click on the front frame and just move it to the right, and the back frame move it to the left. Once you have done that, then make sure the ordering is the first purple is the first frame on the top, so make it go all the way to the top. Then we have the back frame, just make it below the front frame itself, so the first ones are aligned. Then rename this to the front and rename this to the back, and then move the front one on top of the back. So now we have this ready. Just click and drag both of these first two frames and click on align horizontal centers. Same thing you have to do for the bottom ones. Then click your first frames Right click on it and click on create component. Same thing you have to do for the bottom frames. Right click and click on create component. Then click and drag both of these components and click on combine as variants. Next thing we have to do is prototype them to make our flipping effect. Click on the frame or the component itself and click on prototype, and then you have this plus icon. Just click and drag to the bottom one. The trigger will be on click, action will be changed to, property will be component 2, and animation set it to Smart Animate. And leave the settings as it is, ease out and 300 millisecond. Same thing for the bottom component. Click on this card and click on this plus and move it upwards. And now we have the same settings for this as well. To test our prototype, we have to create a blank frame first. Click on the frame and click anywhere on the canvas and draw out a frame. Then come to your assets panel, go under the components menu over here and click and drag this component on the canvas we just created. Once you have done that, click on this arrow and click on present, and it will start loading your prototype. I'll just zoom in a bit and click on this, and you see here we have our prototype set. Also, one thing I forgot to do is make the edges round, and to round the corners of it, the components, component 1, we have our front frame, make the radius to 10. Same thing for the back one, make the radius to 10. And then under component 2 also go to the front frame and make the corner radius to 10, and same thing for the back one, set the corner radius to 10. You see those changes are taking place over here under the component. The edges are now rounded. You can again click on the play to preview it again. This time it will present you with the rounded corners. I'll just zoom in a bit and click on it. You see now we have a smooth flipping card animation in Figma. I hope you guys have learned something from this training video. Thanks guys. Thanks for watching.